Hey everyone, it is Dave. It's already time to talk about module number 5. Now this week we're going to be back in Italy, but the Renaissance has ended and now we're in the age of the Baroque. This is very theatrical art. It is art that is over the top, and it's definitely art that encompasses more motion and fluidity than anything we've seen before. As far as projects go, we do have a reply that's needed on the art theft discussion board, so make sure to do that. We do have a journal. Now keep in mind next week we're going to be dealing with Rococo, Romanticism, Neoclassicism, but the week after that is spring break. So we do have a little bit of a break on the horizon, but in the meantime, let's head over to the Canvas site. I'll walk you through module number 5. All right, here we are on the Canvas site. And if you do hear any noises in the background, my neighbors are having a pool party. So forgive the extra noise. Up top, we have our usual suspects, our video that you're watching, the action plan for the week, and finally, a link to my office hours every Monday from 4 to 7 p.m. The lecture this week is on the Baroque, and we've got our lecture study guide, and then the further exploration section has our reading up above. And then also a few videos on recognizing the Baroque, how it differs from the Renaissance, the Baldacchino, which marks the grave of St. Peter at the crossing of St. Peter's Cathedral, and also another very short architecture video. As far as projects go, make sure to leave a reply for the discussion board that was actually not in Module 2, but down here in Module 4, the discussion art theft. If you haven't yet done a post, please make sure to do that. It is quite simple, but if you do have questions, you can always stop by my office hours, or you can also reach out to a librarian in terms of using the database. But also, check last week's video. Video 4 walks you through how to use an academic database, and they're very, very simple. No different really than a Google search. And then finally, journal number 5. You want to set a little bit of time aside for this, because what I'm going to have you do is compare and contrast two images. Now, we kind of did that last week. We got a little bit of practice with that. However, in terms of this, we're looking at what makes Baroque art so different than Renaissance art. It was the art historian Wolf Lean who created these 5 different categories. For instance, linear versus painterly, plain versus recession, and so on. We've got a couple websites with information that explains this a little bit better. But for me, I've got a really great video. Please don't do the assignment at the end of the video. This is another person's class, but she explains this topic very, very well. And she actually used to be a college professor, and actually locally here in, I think, Irvine. So we're going to be comparing this work here by Montaigne, and this is work that is absolutely Renaissance, perfectly rendered Renaissance painting. And look how different this is. This is a Baroque work. So a lot of differences here. All right, and that is a very short chapter. Once again, we just have one more chapter to go before we go on spring break, and it'll be on French art. This is the last we're dealing with Italy, and I will look forward to speaking to you next week.